All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, welcome to a very, and I do mean very, special episode of Inclusion Matters podcast with Inclusion Pro Wrestling. We've missed this man tremendously that we've invited him back. So, as you guys all know, of course, I'm the Heartbreaker. We've got Principal Tap. We've got our, the man that we've missed the most, Big Money Dodge. And then we've got that OJ loving Orange Cassidy fucking lucky ass freak who just won the international championship yet again, who is the most, in my opinion, overrated wrestler who can't wrestle without his hands in his pockets. I swear to God, the man's playing with himself when he's wrestling. But, I have to admit, Orange Cassidy, at least you wrestled this match without playing with yourself. So, bravo. So, without further ado, I bring you the Crippled Messiah, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry he's had a big lunch this afternoon, so he may sound a bit full, and he may sound like paint drying or paint dying, whichever, because he had a big lunch yesterday and a big lunch today. So I'm not really responsible for the words or sounds that come out of his mouth.
Not the ones that come out of my mouth I'm worried about.
Oh gosh. Oh man. And he's
All
gone.
right, fellas, so how you doing?
Good. How are you, good sir?
Good. I see Principal Taps trying to be the homeless version of Triple H. But
Hello.
Besides
Tap.
Triple H, I can also make it look damn good.
and you have the same type of nose.
Why were we talking, Turtle Wax?
So let's
Touche.
talk about the big news off of last night's SmackDown. The fact that Nick Aldis, or as Big Money so adequately said before we went on air, Magnus,
Yep.
is the new general manager of SmackDown.
To be honest, I was surprised to see he even made it back to the bigs. Being stuck with what was he in? Impact, right? Impact. Yeah, he was in Impact. I'm glad they moved him up. Well deserved. Well, round of applause for him. I see good potential with him being the general manager of SmackDown. But I will be missing the other man.
Adam Pearce.
Adam Pearce, yes.
But you still get to see Adam Pearce on Monday.
That's true. But just how they had Adam Pearce do both of them, and it's like now all of a sudden it's a season premiere. It was a season premiere. I get it. New change, and that was a perfect fit. This is going to be a perfect fit for Magnus. It's really going to be a good fit. That's how I see it.
I'm sorry. The reason I growled is because you hit one of my pet peeves about pro wrestling.
And what would that be?
They call it a season premiere. Now, in any other shows, a season premiere occurs because there's a season finale, and you get like 2 to 3 months without there being a show. Now,
Yep.
I'm not saying I don't want there to be a show of pro wrestling because I always want there to be pro wrestling. But how can you have a season premiere if you don't take a break?
Thank you. That's what I've been telling everybody. I was telling Boom the other day too, and I was like, Boom, why call it season premiere? And
There's other ways
apparently,
you could call that. Don't call it a season premiere. You didn't take a break.
exactly.
There's nothing to...
Change it up with the title, but season premiere supposedly because every TV station you get a year worth of seasons
Right,
per
and I mean,
se.
every other show, there's like a mid-season or a season finale, and then then you get.
But
But you don't get that with wrestling, so how can you call it a season premiere?
exactly, that's what I did not understand, and that's why I still don't understand why it was
So
called
that
season
drives
premiere.
me nuts. It's like the season premiere of SmackDown. When did you leave?
Yeah, I saw you last week. Hello, you didn't go anywhere. Gosh, I just don't like the fact that they do that, but it is what it
yeah,
is.
they make changes every time, but that part's kind of awesome. It's kind of like a mini day after WrestleMania,
Yep,
but don't call it a season premiere.
it's
Like,
not worth it.
and if we can get Principal Tap out from exile or his own personal detention since he turned his camera off, I want to get your guys' opinion on.
It looks like he's on mute too there, Messiah. So, back off the principal for a minute. Maybe he's talking to one of his students.
Excuse me.
If you want an excuse, I can find one for you first. I mean, I'm sitting here suffering through listening to your fucking paint drying voice.
Wow.
Yeah, but weren't you the one that said that you understood why they did the season premiere, Mr. Baldhead?
Well, of course I understood. Hey, and I'm going bald in support of our Special Olympian, Mr. Alan Abel, who actually shaved his beard and his hair today because of the chemo treatments. So I support you, Alan, in your fight against cancer. Then shave your damn head and shave your damn face and go bald.
I can't get anybody to help me cut it yet. I'm not paying 22.
And be proud.
I can't get anybody to shave it. I'm not paying $22 to have the Frontier do it.
It drives the women wild, trust me.
So why do you think, in all your wisdom, that they should call it the season premiere?
Yeah.
Well, not really a season premiere. I mean, if WWE wanted to do this the right way, they should start their seasons in January, and then in December, all their competitors. That's right, Mr. Endeavor. That we don't get a bash on Vince McMahon. So this is my first ever bash on Endeavor. Shame on you, Endeavor, for not following your counterparts with AEW and actually starting at the beginning of the year and going until the end of the year and then just resetting into a new season. That is how things actually should be done. Is you reset at the end of you reset at the beginning of the year.
True.
So, I don't really agree with the season premieres. I understand why WWE does them because obviously, as we knew, if there wasn't a writer's strike and the actors weren't on strike, season premieres would have been this week. So therefore, it's the season premiere of all your fall lineup supposed to be coming back, but because we had this writer's strike and the actors are still out getting more money, I don't know when our favorite shows will come back. We miss you,
Chicago Fire.
We miss you, One Chicago.
Law and Order.
We miss you, Law and Order.
Chicago.
But
I know what you guys are complaining about. My show's back with a brand new season.
What would that be?
And what's that?
Hell's Kitchen.
It's because it's not syndicated.
Yep.
It's a reality show. It's not syndicated.
The Masked Singer.
Again, reality.
Reality. Yep. Or my favorite, Temptation Island, a family show. Not really, kids. Not really.
Again,
just say fifth win.
Reality show, not scripted.
True.
You think they can script half the stuff on that show?
No.
Right.
No. But no. It's brilliant. making 2 general manager again, because now you're actually going to get a lot of the Raw versus SmackDown wars again. You're going to
It
get
is
the battle.
falling towards Survivor Series. I think
You're going to get Team Raw versus Team SmackDown again, which is good. You're going to get the good old traditional 5-on-5 Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series matches, which is awesome. You know, I've missed that.
Yeah.
But as far as anything else, but man, let me tell you what, man, it feels so good for the 4 of us to be back together again.
It feels weird because I'm having a bad hair day, and you put me on live.
Well, you're having a bad hair day, so that means it must be 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But you know, and I know Nathan in Principal and Messiah Principal and I spoke about something that was very disheartening to all of us the other day. We want to talk to you, Creepy the Clown. Now since we're on a live podcast. Now since we're on a live podcast, Mr. Creepy the Clown. For those of you that did not hear the story, Mr. Creepy the Clown decided to go up and punch and fight with a special needs down autistic child after a show in the parking lot and blocked his caregiver from getting to defend himself. Mr. Creepy the Clown, you, sir, do not belong in the wrestling business. You, sir, have an attitude and anger problem towards fans. You, sir, need to realize fans have every right to say what they have to say to the wrestlers. Why? Because they pay their hard-earned money for this show. Mr. Creepy the Clown, sir. Yes, you got arrested. Yes, you may never work in that promotion again. And Mr. Creepy the Clown, you ever escape this again and you move anywhere, I, myself, will make it my responsibility never to have another promotion hire you. And you ever come to Washington State, buddy, you better not ever think of coming to Inclusion Pro Wrestling. Because, dude, we're all about the disabled. We're all about inclusion. We're all about disabled. We do not condone your actions. And, sir, we think that the sentence that you could be getting is far, far less than what you deserve. A year to 6 years max for beating up an autistic human being. Dude, you should be sentenced to a life of taking care of these autistic children.
Mom, can you shut the
these
door?
Autistic human beings. You should learn to live in their shoes. Find out how they live. Feel what they feel. And maybe, just maybe, that would change your cold-hearted, prickish attitude towards these individuals.
Well put.
I'm going to get off my soapbox. If anybody else in the panel wants to say something.
I do. You guys pay me. So, Nate, you be quiet. Let me say my piece. It's been a while. So, I got updates for everybody that watches Inclusion Pro podcast, the podcast, and the promotion. Hansel, they just got approved full custody of Hansel. He is coming home very soon. And when he does, not only is Inclusion Pro Wrestling, but Big Money Exchange is going to fly their happy butts up here to Washington State and have a show. All for you, Hansel. So come home sooner and we'll have a show.
Amen.
That you could take to the bank.
And that's awesome news. But I want to get on that soapbox that Tony was on,
Of course, go ahead.
because I want to talk to you a minute as a disabled person, right?
Right.
As a disabled person, and I apologize to anybody that's within shouting distance of me. I might get a little bit loud here, but it's just because I get emotional about this kind of stuff.
Of course.
Um, you don't get a lot of stuff that entertains you as a disabled person because you don't get to do the stuff that everybody else does. You can't hop into a car, or maybe you have a social anxiety disorder or autism that makes it not easy for you to go to places and to experience the things that everybody else gets to experience on a regular basis. So this person in Indiana found the one thing that he felt that he could be like everybody else on. And for somebody that's supposed to be representing the sport that he loved, that I love, that everybody on this panel loves, to take that away from him and turn that into a negative experience, to where now he might take that experience and change his perspective on pro wrestling, which I hope to God he doesn't, is disgusting.
Yep.
You are not a human to me. You are lower than anything that you can be charged for. And I want to say something else too. For the people that were in that crowd, it was also said in the article that told the caregiver that was trying to work his way free to help his client, and to that caregiver, bravo, sir, for having your trying to get to him. And I'm so sorry that what I'm about to say happened to you. For the people that were watching, and yes, watching, and telling that guy, oh, just let them finish the fight, you should be charged right along with Creepy the Clown. Because there is no excuse, there is no reason to let a disabled person get pummeled, and for able bodied people that can make responsible decisions to look at somebody that's trying to help and go, oh, just let him finish the fight. You people that just sit in that crowd disgust me. You should never be let into a wrestling event again if that's the way you feel about people and about the wrestling business. And again, you should be charged and thrown in jail yourself, because you led more to this, or just as much as Creepy the Clown did. Thank you very much.
So,
Well put.
with that being said, Bill Wright of Overdriver was the person that actually shared this report with us. So, Bill, if you're ever watching this, if you find out what that disabled fan's name is, will you please share it with us?
Yes.
Because we understand that you may be in Indiana, and we understand that you may have a bad taste in your mouth now, but you, sir, and I don't do this very often, but I've done this twice in the last 24 hours. So here we go again.
I'm still learning how to say this.
And amen.
So here we go again. Bill, if you know this fan, or you can get a hold of this fan, and if he can ever find a way out to the state of Washington, please personally invite him to the Crippled Messiah's Inclusion Pro Wrestling. We promise you, we will make that shitty experience from that creepy clown a promising experience, and show you the proper techniques and a proper show, and how real wrestlers entertain you.
Yeah.
If the money's right.
Not this time. There's no
you,
money
sir,
this time.
Yeah, and you, sir, and your caregiver. God, I'm doing it again.
Here, I'll do it. Make it easier for you to get. You, sir, and your caregiver will be our guests for that
Of
night
honor.
of honor. For that night at Inclusion Pro Wrestling.
And it will be Big Money Dodge's duty to get all those wrestlers in the back to sign a poster and personally hand it to you, my friend. I just had to throw it in.
No. I'm with you.
And one more little bit of information before we move on to our next topic. I want to touch on something that Dodge brought up earlier. Mr. Golden Voice, Mr. Triple M, Mr. Mike Martinez, our brother, our friend. You know, again, we would be remiss.
Manager in California.
You know what? Shut his mic up.
Again, we would be remiss if we couldn't thank you again for introducing us to Big Money Dodge, because this friendship has blossomed and it's been very, very strong. So, like Big Money said, Mike, bring yourself, bring your wife, bring Hansel to a show in Inclusion Pro Wrestling. Hell, if you want to come work the show, Mike, come work the show. Hansel, my man.
Whoa. Work the show. No. Not that golden voice. Not that golden child. Not that golden lake.
Hansel,
river,
my man. Hansel, my man. Like we're doing with that autistic gentleman, you will be the guest of honor for that show. But because we know that you are so beloved in California and you already know the sparkle and the pizzazz of the show, you, my man, will actually have a very, very, very special role in that show of your honor. It will be Hansel's show. He will be the first ever Inclusion Pro Wrestling guest general manager.
What? Yep. I'm working for a freaking kid.
Every match, every decision is Hansel's.
Yep.
A kid? I'm going to be working for a kid?
Better
let
be careful.
Alone my nephew?
You better be careful,
better
Dodge.
Be careful, Uncle Dodge.
Give your PO for that
better
night
be,
for him.
Better be careful, Uncle Dodge. He may be saying those 3 words to you that everybody wants to say. Or 2 words to you that everybody wants to say. That Vince McMahon made so famous back in the 90s.
Uncle Dodge, you're fired.
Just one show. I'll be fine. I'll behave. Just for my nephew. That's it.
So,
come home, Hansel. Come home.
So moving forward, okay, Messiah, we kind of did our promos and our soapboxes. What else do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Wrong show. Wrong show.
What do you guys think about the match that's gonna happen? Well, for me, in about an hour. For Principal Tap, it's probably already happened since he has satellite, and that's the match on Collision between Brian Danielson.
Hey,
I'm not saying a word.
I have not seen it yet.
I didn't.
I'm not going
to give spoilers.
Yes, he is.
You be quiet.
I'm not saying a word because I don't have it on.
I'm not saying you have to give spoilers. I'm saying what's your opinion on the match and who do you think's gonna win? I'm asking for predictions.
Aubrey.
Yes, Aubrey Edwards is gonna be the new TNT champion.
It could happen. I mean, I've seen her fight.
You've seen her, in all respect to Aubrey Edwards.
That one match she had.
And we got to represent the Seattle girl because that's where she's from. But in
There you
all
go.
respect, she wrestled Kara Jarrett for God's sake.
Yeah, she's not even trained. I'm just saying.
So Principal Tap, even though you look like you drank way too much Mountain Dew or doused yourself in a highlighter based on that shirt.
At least I have a shirt on.
What's your thoughts on Bryan Danielson and Christian Cage?
I think it's going to be an actual one-on-one, and here's what I think.
Oh, God, he thinks? As a principal, he thinks?
I predict this. I think Danielson got what is going to get what he wants and have it a lumberjack match.
I can actually see that. And so who you're predicting to win?
Honestly, I see a double count out.
How can it be a double count out with a lumberjack match?
Or let me rephrase that. It's going to be thrown out. Because there's going to be so much chaos. There's not going to be a decisive winner.
Okay. Dodge, your thoughts?
Yes. Oh, wait, not WWE anymore. My bad. Danielson.
Your thoughts?
Oh, see, he's got to rub on the, good luck.
The magic 8-ball?
Yeah.
Well, I like how you keep yourself, Mr. Paint Drying, for the last. I mean, unfortunately, again, I must dig at you because unlike Orange Cassidy, Daniel Bryan deserves, that's right, deserves a championship.
I agree.
However,
oh God, there's however.
He does not deserve a mid-card championship. I think he's going to win the mid-card championship, but I think he deserves a match with Mr. MJF.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I agree with that, but here's what I think is going to happen.
Oh, gosh.
I think.
Did we ask you?
No, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think it's going to be. It's not going to be a clean match. It's possibly going to be a lumberjack match, but if not, there's going to be a lot of interference on both sides. And I think Bryan Danielson's going to win it. For two reasons. One, nobody in the Blackpool Combat Club has a title right now. And I think Tony Khan wants them to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And two, on November 8th, Dynamite is coming to Portland.
Oh, that's true.
I know that because the Heartbreaker will be there. And I think Tony Khan's going to want one of the people from the Northwest to have a championship going into that.
I see that, yeah.
Now, if it was me, I would have waited and done that match at on Dynamite in Portland, just because you get the bigger reaction.
Agreed.
Because if you guys remember, Bryan Danielson had a very memorable moment happen in the city of Portland. Anybody remember what that was?
Well, obviously you're going to tell us, so why don't you just tell us so we can go to sleep, Mr. Paint Drying?
It was when he had. Very funny, by the way. It's when he had the Occupy Portland movement right before WrestleMania 30, where he invited all the fans into the ring.
Right.
And he wouldn't let the fans leave until Triple H gave him the title shot going into WrestleMania.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Crippled Messiah normally tells everybody how he fact checks everything that he comes out and says on this podcast. What would you say, ladies and gentlemen, if I could tell you and prove to you that half of what he told you about his prediction was not his own, and he copied it and stole it from somebody else?
How did I do that?
Whose idea originally, sir, was it that Daniel Bryan was going to win for the same exact reason that you just used on said podcast?
Okay, in all fairness, it was yours.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just proved to you that Crippled Messiah does not know it all. He does not do his research, and he does, in fact, take facts from other people and make them his own. Thank you.
It's a good journalist. I took a fact that I found out from somebody else and turned it into my own thing and gave my own opinion on it.
God, I miss this.
So another question, since Dodge is back, how long do you think that Ricky Starks and Big Bill are going to be the tag team champions? And who do you think's going to beat them for the tag championship?
I'm hoping the Hardys, and not for long. I really don't like the fact that they are the tag team champions, but I want the Hardys to have one more run before they retire. Just one more run would be perfect. Then call it a career, but I don't see them holding the tag team belts very long. And if Tony Khan was done sniffing all that coke that he does, sorry, Tony, don't call me, I'm sorry. Anyways, I think I give it a month to actually have the titles, then lose the titles the next possible pay-per-view. But I'm hoping they won't hold them. That's just my idea.
So, let me get your prediction on this match for next Wednesday Dynamite.
Well, are we going to just skip over the rest of us for thoughts?
Oh,
I was getting to that, but he kind of jumped the gun.
He is a principal. Remember that.
Come on, Principal Tap. Remember, you're co-host for a reason. You don't lead this dog and pony show.
So who do you think's gonna?
I had to agree with Dodge.
Oh my God! A principal finally agreed with me. Ha! I gotta write this down.
Okay, Heartbreaker. Who do you think's gonna beat the?
Well, thank you, Messiah. I'm glad you finally asked my opinion because obviously, my opinion is the only one that matters. Because I'm
bullshit.
I'm better
Lord,
than
he's feeling
you,
himself today.
And you all know it. So here's mine.
1, 2, 3.
I still am stuck on 2.5.
So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you asked. So here's my honest opinion before Messiah can steal it from me. I
All right,
want to
Paul
say
Heyman.
I want to say the Hardys,
Thank
but
you.
actually
What?
Big Bill and Ricky Starks are what we call in the wrestling world placeholders. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They're placeholders for the next champions. This is going to set up AEW's next tag team feud. So, let me picture this out for you, ladies and gentlemen. Big Bill, Ricky Starks versus the new AEW tag team champions, the Young Bucks. And then the Young Bucks and the Hardys go one last time to finish off their epic. Quit yawning over there, Messiah. I don't yawn when you talk, so don't you even yawn when I talk. To finish off their epic story to where the Hardys finally beat the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. And the Hardys get to retire on top of the world.
And that's just a fact of life.
That's not a fact. That's not a spoiler, that's a fact.
So I agree with all that, but I'm going to add something to it.
Of course you would, because you think that you have to have the last word.
Well, I am the last one to talk on this subject before we move on to something else. So
Well, yeah, that's because you choose it that way instead of you starting the topic and then letting one of us end it. So
God, I missed this arguing back and forth. I missed it. I feel right at home.
I agree that it's probably going to be the Young Bucks, even though in my heart I don't want it to be, because you shouldn't have your EVPs be champions. And I think it's going to go till their next big pay-per-view. Like, not Full Gear, but their next, like, massive pay-per-view. And then it'll be a triple threat ladder match for the AEW Tag Team Champions. Especially because they just fought ROH not too long ago, and this was a staple match for ROH when ROH kind of hit the map. And the match would be the Young Bucks defending the AEW Tag Team Championships against the Hardys and the Lucha Brothers.
Mierro.
In a triple threat ladder match.
Wow. I'm loving it.
all right, Messiah, what's next?
What's on your hit list? I mean, your list.
What's your guys' thoughts on Kevin Owens going to SmackDown? And what do they do with Sami Zayn now? Just so I'm a good host, Heartbreaker, since you called me out on this, why don't you start?
Aww.
I actually finished my WWE boycott last night, and I actually sat down and watched Friday Night SmackDown with the Messiah last night. Yes, I know. I actually broke down and watched it. And for all you people thinking the Jey Uso trade was going to be Cody Rhodes, ha ha ha! Bravo, WWE.
You mean Triple H?
Bravo, WWE. Bravo. You finally did something not original. Bravo. I think it's a good, like Messiah said last night. See, I give credit where credit is due, sir. It's a good way to break up the tag team and to let them have their solo and let them have their singles careers back to where, yes, they are great as a team, but they're even better by themselves. So, how better to break up Sammy and KO than to trade KO to SmackDown? What's it going to do for Sammy now? Unfortunately, it's probably going to shuffle Sammy down into the mid card, and it's going to escalate KO into another possible feud with Roman Reigns, or even the bloodline itself. So, again, bravo Triple H, bravo Endeavor for pulling this off and making a not so bold and predictable move. Tony Khan, you should take notes.
All right,
Wow.
and so I'm not the last one that ends this, which is the other thing you just called me out on. I'll go next. I think it was a good move. I think that Nick Aldis is going to build his Survivor Series team around Kevin Owens. And if you wanted to put Nick Aldis as like a heel general manager, because Adam Pearce would be the face one, because
Yep.
that's what he's been the whole time.
That's yep.
You could even have Nick Aldis do like a half and half thing where he was general manager, but he was also Kevin Owens' actual manager. That way, if you wanted to have Nick Aldis wrestle, you could either have them team Kevin Owens and Nick Aldis together once the general manager thing kind of fades away, or you could have, and then eventually have them at a WrestleMania doing Nick Aldis versus Kevin Owens match.
I don't think he would go back in the ring.
Oh, I think he'll at least have a few matches in WWE. Because it's not like he's injured or anything and he can't.
True.
It's just WWE thinks he's too old.
True. And for my answer, I agree with the crippled Messiah. It was a smart move to bring KO to SmackDown. I think it fits him more. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the new, gimmick he has going with the tripping out during talking. So like just spontaneously like just start yelling out of nowhere. But and with Sammy, I think I agree with the Heartbreaker. He'll do good singles, but I don't see him winning titles as single anymore. I think he did really well with Kevin. Like they did really good with Kevin and Sammy together and made them win the tag team championships. And now that Kevin Owens is in SmackDown and Sammy's in Raw, it opens the door for both of them a little bit more. So we'll see. I really hope that Magnus really uses Kevin Owens more than just a I hope he pushes him to be a champion, not just a wrestler to get beat up on. But we'll see.
Yeah. And before time goes, I realized I didn't say what I thought would happen with Sami Zayn. And I kind of have an out of the box thought about Sami Zayn. What if, because Raw is all about factions, right? If you look at the quote of the factions to SmackDown, Raw is all about factions.
Yep.
So what if they turned Sammy heel, and there was a three-man faction with him, Shinsuke Nakamura, and this last one's gonna surprise people, but I'll explain it in a second, and Ricochet.
That kind of doesn't surprise me personally, but that would be crazy.
Because Sammy can be pissed off again because everybody left him.
Yep.
He's already got the connection with Nakamura when him and Nakamura and Cesaro were together.
Yep.
And they've been having Ricochet and Nakamura feud. And Ricochet could like maybe either be brainwashed by Nakamura and kind of go over to his side, or just get pissed off that he's not getting the push that like everybody else is getting on Raw. You know, because Raw's like the big man division, right?
Yeah.
Or he's not being pushed towards the Seth Rollins, even though he could have a killer match. With Seth Rollins.
Yeah. I agree. All right, Principal.
All right, Tap Ass, your turn.
Okay, so what I think is going to happen is it's going to be Team J versus Team Jimmy at Survivor Series. Now that everything's starting to come into place, I look to see it. Cody and Jay with, and I hate to say this, but the Judgment Day against Team Jimmy, which would be Jimmy, Owens, Reigns, Solo, and a mystery partner. In War Games.
I don't actually hate that because it would build the intrigue, because War Games was always about teamwork, but if you put faces and heels on the same team, that would build the intrigue, like with the Judgment Day teaming with Jimmy or with Jay and Rhodes. Everybody's gonna be like, well, how's that gonna work? Right?
Right.
Exactly.
With with Kevin teaming with Roman, knowing that Kevin's gonna want the
something in
title.
return.
And maybe that's what all this negotiates with Reigns. Maybe the Bloodline can't find a fifth member or a fourth member before they get the surprise member. And Aldis, as the general manager, says, okay, fine. You take the guy that I brought over to SmackDown and Kevin Owens, but if he gets the pinfall for War Games, then he gets a title shot.
That's true.
Inside Hell in the Cell, so that way the Bloodline can't get involved at the Royal Rumble.
So, can I have a thing?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? This is just what I've heard and what I've read. A new member of the Bloodline. There's a possible new member of the Bloodline coming. And you want to hear who it may be?
And again, this is just a rumor. But
This is just a rumor. This is just what I'm hearing and reading. The Rock's daughter, what's her name?
Ava
Raine.
Ava Raine.
That wouldn't make sense after what happened on NXT.
Yes,
True.
It would.
I can see it.
I see it.
So, all right. So real quick,
to Principal Tap, really quick. Do you think that mystery partner for the Bloodline could be Braun Breaker?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Again, based off of NXT and based off the fact that
Yep.
Solo tried to help him in the main event where Paul Heyman was managing him.
I believe so. I believe that is the beginning of the end for the Bloodline because Heyman is getting ready to shift his focus on Braun Breaker.
Again, I don't disagree with that.
All right.
Both
Well,
views.
yep. Well, moving on, because Crippled Messiah yet proved that he has to have the last word in everything on this podcast. So, moving on, we need to, because we haven't done this in a few days, thank our sponsors. So, Messiah, I'm going to give you half, but I'm going to give you the half that I don't remember. So, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin Watson, American Family Insurance. Thank you, Twin Cities Bank. Thank you, Dodie Tattoo Gallery. Thank you to Kathy's Customs, or Kathy's Clutters, and Event Center, Bob's Little Car Hospital, the Care Program, Bruce Nichols Painting, Precision Power Pressure Washing, Los Jalapenos Taqueria, El Ranchero's Mexican Restaurant, and Messiah. You can take over the rest. Good luck.
I got a problem. I don't remember the rest. I think you might have hit them all.
Did I do Twin Cities Bank? No, I did not.
Yeah.
So thank you. Okay. Well, okay. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. And for the next few minutes, as one half of the promoters of Inclusion Pro Wrestling, our show on November 25th. I know this is pretty exciting because this is the first time we've actually had a live guest on here that doesn't really know the card. So let me run down the card for you.
You hear that? He's going to run you down.
I'm used to that.
Our first match of the evening will be for a championship. That's right. Our very first match out will be for a championship. No, Dodge, not the big money championship.
Oh, well, that was so.
But it'll be for the Cowlitz County title. And that match will be decided in the first ever Cowlitz County or Cowlitz River Rumble. That's right. It's a Royal Rumble style match.
And that's the first match?
That is the very first match. So within the first 30 minutes of our show, you will have at least one surprise match made out of that Rumble match, which we're not going to announce. It's going to be a surprise match. And a brand new champion in the first 30 minutes of our show. That's a guarantee.
Boom Mayhem, right? Boom
That's
Mayhem.
a guarantee. Our second match is Inclusion Pro Wrestling's specialty match. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our showcase match. What is a showcase match? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. A showcase.
Oh, what's a showcase match?
A showcase match
Lucha type.
is where we bring in top talent that is just out of training or has not had a lot of wrestling experience. Again, Nas, quit yawning while I'm speaking. It's very rude.
Sorry, you said I had 2 big meals yesterday, and I'm still trying to work through the process.
And so they are showcased on our wrestling showcase match.
That would make sense, right?
Our third match isn't really our match. It's our brand match that we're actually partnering with this show. And that is going to be for the CSW family title.
Oh, great. Mikey O'Shea? Oh, not family app title. Okay. Oh,
Did you say CSW or CPW?
I'm sorry, CPW. CSW is on my mind because
I heard
I
CSW.
yes, I heard I said I've got CSW on my mind. I'm sorry, it's CPW. Sorry.
Yvonne hit him with a kendo stick too.
Um, and that pits Good Son Andrew Michelson against the confused son, or should we say confused cat,
The
Tomcat
adopted
Jones.
one.
The next match on the card, I believe, is the surprise match, which we're not announcing at this time
Because it's a surprise, right?
because it's a surprise. And we
Why?
have one other match, I think, that I cannot remember. Do you remember the other match before the semi? No, because that's a surprise match too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the semi-main event, ladies and gentlemen, is a huge semi-main event. It is CJ help me, CJ Edwards versus Adonis.
Oh.
That is promising to be a very hard-hitting match, from what I understand. Both of those men can go.
Banger.
It's going to be a banger match.
A banger.
And ladies and gentlemen, our main event of the evening. Picture this, if you will. The free sailing gypsy.
You just get to the name.
Sunny Days versus Christopher Ryzik. That's right. Our main event.
Wow.
Is probably two of the hardest hitting professional wrestlers in the Washington State area. Sunny Days is not a lightweight, ladies and gentlemen. She has wrestled the best men and beat them. This is why Miss Sunny Days is part of Inclusion Pro Wrestling, because she amplifies what inclusion really means. She took this area by storm and is probably one of the only women wrestlers that I know. Well, I know there's a few others in Washington State, but she's probably the most notable one and took it by storm.
Like
and
Tony Storm.
There are men that fear this woman because she is so hard hitting. I mean, she can do it all. She can do lucha libre. She can do strong style. She is the total package.
Oh, come on. At one point, she threw a guy into a cactus at a CPW show.
He deserved it.
He did.
Ow.
After he had just gotten a vasectomy. Yes.
And she made sure that certain part of his body hit the cactus.
You heard me correctly. So Sunny Days is not a person to mess around with. And Christopher Ryzik, again, he is not a man you should mess around with either, because this man is a freak of nature. This man is, I don't know why there isn't a promotion in Washington State that hasn't put a belt on this man, because he's that deserving.
Yep.
So I have a question.
Okay, anyways, go ahead and finish up, guys. I got to take a phone call.
Can I buy my ticket live on this podcast?
Hello.
Hey. So I figured I'd call you.
Can I buy a ticket?
So, yes. But let me tell you about Adonis while the Heartbreaker's on the phone. This man is from Canada. He's about 6'2" and can jump from the ring apron to the floor and do a shooting star press and land on his feet.
Wow.
Think about that for a second. 6'2"
Yeah.
can do a move that you think cruiserweights like a Rey Mysterio
Only a
or
5'5" guy could do.
and they can't even land on their feet afterwards.
That's true. Yeah. Wow. That's big money right there.
I mean, that's just nuts. And the fact that like he's willing to come down and work the inclusion show, is a blessing, man.
That's crazy. That's a big money move right there. And that's
the
why I
one thing
want to
that I'm
buy a
sure
ticket.
the one thing that I'm sure the Heartbreaker would have gotten to if he didn't get the phone call is there will be a special appearance at Inclusion Pro Wrestling to be the belt keeper and to be presenting the championship for the Cowlitz River Rumble will be none other than former WWE superstar, former Heavy Machinery member, Tucker Knight.
Wow. That's huge right there, bro. That's huge. To have a
Literally
former
and figuratively,
WWE.
because Tucker's not a small man.
Oh, I know that. Wow. That's big. That is big news right there. And
So
that
anybody, including Big Money, that wants to buy a ticket for the November 25th show,
yeah, where do I go to buy tickets?
you can either get a hold of me on Facebook. My name is Nathan Noss on Facebook. You can get a hold of the Heartbreaker on Facebook. You can go to our email, which is inclusionprowrestling@gmx.com. Or you can call the Inclusion Pro Wrestling phone number, which is 360-560-2219.
Okay. Sweet. I'll be emailing you guys. Save me a couple tickets.
Got you.
Definitely.
And the tickets are. It just dawned on me I didn't tell the fans how much the tickets were. So
Yeah, how
my
much
bad.
are they?
Front row is $25.
Okay.
General admission's $20.
Okay.
Doors open at 6. Bell times at 7.
Awesome. Awesome. Are there going to be snacks and stuff?
There will be concessions, but all the money from the concessions go to the Raid Church youth group, and that's where the event will be. We'll be at the Raid Church in Kelso, Washington.
Okay.
Which the address of that is 1209 North Minor Road.
Okay. In Kelso?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll buy my tickets tonight. I suggest everybody purchase their tickets now before they sell out because it sounds like it's going to be a red hot.
Absolutely.
Tell them Big Money Dodge sent you.
On that note, I want to thank Principal Tap, unless you have anything else to say about the show.
No, I'm just going to take a page out of good old JR's playbook and say it's going to be one heck of a slobber knocker of a show.
I want to thank Principal Tap for being on tonight and for your opinions. I'm pretty sure you have to use the highlighter you used on that shirt to highlight the rest of your room.
Yeah. I have to find some way to keep the glare off of that chest of yours.
I want to thank Big Money Dodge for coming back on again after a long hiatus, although I'm begging you to get some real money.
You're welcome.
And I want to thank the Heartbreaker. And even though I know you shaved your head for a noble cause, and I commend you for that, and think it's awesome. I just thought of a third job you could have. You could always rent the top of your head as a crystal ball for a fortune teller. And then you have to rub the top of your head, and then the vision would come right out your glasses. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We will see you tomorrow, and have a good night.
Good night.